Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, I thought I'd do a little video here on the 305, servicing it. So, I actually just stuck the new air filter in before I could grab the camera. I forgot to grab the camera. But yeah, there's the air filter. Just put a new air filter into it. You just sit back here off out of the way. Plug him in, put the cap on, you're good to go. Acts like something's holding it up. Well, that's odd. Doesn't want to seat down. Unless I don't have that thing. No, that might have been it. I might not have had that thing set in there just right. Okay, that feels more like it. There we go. Alrighty, now I'm going to take and grab I'll grab a couple buckets. Right here's your oil fill, right there is your dipstick. And right there, that guy is your drain plug. This thing definitely has a beefed up frame, that's for sure. You know, it's here like just a plastic cover. And then you got all this framework going all the way up the front. Of course, I guess it's got to have a heavy frame to be able to handle 4 front tires pulling on it as you're going through the field. So I'm gonna grab my buckets. Let's see what we got here. Not exactly sure how this thing works. Unless it needs a socket on it. Well, maybe I'll go and grab a socket. It almost acts like a shutoff, I think, but I'm not sure. That takes a 15/16 socket. Well, I'm not exactly sure how that thing works. It looked like you basically just take and screw the thing out. It's actually turning in the oil pan. Maybe I should get the book out and take a look at it. Well, I've been looking in the book and come to find out that does not appear to be original. So I just called and talked to my neighbor that we bought this thing from, and he said put a ratchet onto it, and of course it kind of wants to flop back and forth, but he said put a ratchet onto it and put a good pull. So let's see what happens. There we go. Like I told him, I hated to call and bother him, but I didn't know how hard of a pull to put on that without knowing. I mean, I sure didn't want to break something, but okay. Well, now I can take it off with my fingers. So, just one problemo. This thing holds 6.5 gallons. So, this sounds like a fun job. I'll probably end up with an oil bath. Well, y'all, you're in for a little longer segment. I'm probably going to end up getting oil all over my hands and everything, so I'm just going to keep the camera rolling. You can watch. Well, I'm surprised it didn't come flying out as hard as what I thought. I was guessing Niagara Falls come blasting out at me, but it didn't. But when I talked to him there, because like I say, I looked in the book and it showed just a regular plug going into the oil pan. However, with that spout deal on there, it does allow it to kind of come out further. Otherwise, it's going to be hitting on the bottom of this big hole right here, and it's kind of wanting to splatter and go everywhere. Well, at least that little stream is manageable. That's better than getting an oil bath. So, well, I can set my bucket down. Well, I'm going to shut the camera off and just let it sit here and do its thing. Bring you back in when I'm ready to take and put the plug back on it. Alright, my first bucket's coming up, so I'm going to go ahead and... There we go. Try and get that cat food on there. No need to fill the bucket clear to the top. Alright, let's got that one. Now, we'll get the buckets here swapped out. And this bucket right here should hold the rest. Come on, there we go. Like I say, at least with that plug setup deal, it doesn't let the oil just come blasting out like Niagara Falls at you and dump over you. So that makes it nice. Well, the oil's almost done draining out over on that side. I will say, I turned the wheels all the way to the right. That way I could work and get back into the oil drain. Now, I'm going to grab me a step ladder, that way, and there goes the oil. It's almost done. I grab me a step ladder, that way now I can take and reach back in there with my filter wrench and take the oil filter off of it. Okay, there we go. Yeah, let me guess, it's probably gone dump down the sides and over my arms. Maybe not. Sometimes when you drain them out, though, it kind of sucks it down out of the filter, which does make it nice. Well, I might get lucky on this one. Huh. Well, good. Can't beat that deal. Look at that. Not over my hands. Alrighty, there's a new filter. In fact, actually, that filter came with the tractor. My neighbor had it sitting on the shelf, so he just laid it up there on the floor of the cab. That works. That filter right there, that is the antifreeze filter over here. Okay. Now, trying to get that thing tightened down by hand is easier said than done, the way it's sitting there. I may actually have to go and grab my, well, we'll see. Okay, I think we're good to go. They say not to do it, but I have taken like a filter strap and put it around the base of the filter. That way you don't go and kink, put like a crinkle or a wrinkle on the side of it. And very carefully tighten it down with that if you can't really get your hands onto it. But I was able to get my hand pretty decent here on the bottom, so we're good to go. But yeah, like I say, you can use a filter strap to tighten them up. You just got to be careful you don't go and put a great big crease or a big dent in the side of the new filter. So, all right, that's got that job done. Well, we're done draining. Put the plug back onto it, tighten him up, we'll be good to go. Start dumping oil back into it. And there we are. That fitting takes and it kind of rocks back and forth in the oil pan. You can see it right there. That the whole fitting is actually turning in the oil pan. But when you go tighten it up, as it rocks back like that, you can feel it pull down and tighten. So that's what you want. However, it runs so close to the bottom, to this frame, it can't unscrew. And my neighbor told me, he said he had never had any trouble, there we go, with it leaking on him. So, hey, if it works good for him, it'll work good for me. So now time to start putting oil into it. Oh yeah, there goes the first gallon of oil into it. These other two filters right here are fuel filters, and so I'm going to be changing those also. In fact, I saw it in the book when I was looking through the book for the oil drain plug, but those little Allen screws up here, it talked about them being some kind of like little air bleeder. Of course, you fill your you put fuel into your filter, your new filter, and then screw it on. It showed something about cracking one of these open. So anyway, I'll take a look in the book and just see what it says. So I'm gonna keep on putting more oil into this thing. I just got the thing filled up. In fact, according to the dipstick, I'm actually just a little bit over full, but it's got to fill up and put a bunch of oil inside that big filter, so it'll take and drop the level back down. So, take and put my funnel down someplace out of the way, and we'll jump in and start this thing. Get the key turned on. I hear the fuel pump down there humming. So let's see what happens here. In fact, that top gauge right there, that is the engine oil pressure. So that should be coming up here in a little bit. Okay, right there on the digital readout. Almost 75 psi oil pressure. Not bad. Alright, the next thing I'm working on here are the fuel filters. And this one right here is the primary according to the book. This one right here is the secondary. So, looking down through here on the book, getting everything all figured out. I will say though, in fact, I'll show you something. Right there. The fuel system consists of a fuel tank, fuel filters, and fuel injection parts. No duh. I thought that was a big water tank hanging right there on the side. So, I'll go down through here, get everything all figured out, then be bringing you back in and out here as I go along. But, it don't look too awful hard. Although, surprisingly in the book, though, it says when you put the primary, which is this one, back on, to fill it with fuel, when you put the secondary one back on, to not fill it with fuel. Kind of odd. And so, I know my neighbor told me he just filled them both up and took off. So, we'll wait and see. The primary filter here has this little plug on the bottom, get that thing unplugged and moved off out of the way. That we don't get a bunch of fuel down that thing. That's supposed to turn one way or the other. It says that's how you're supposed to take and drain the fuel out of that thing. Then you gotta take and loosen up this, yeah, that right there. Must be like kind of like a little air plug. I'm gonna grab me an Allen wrench. I found the Allen wrench, but the more I get looking at that right there, I can see paint around the base of it. It's never been moved. Like I say, my neighbor told me whenever he changed these things, he just took them off, fit them back full of fuel, and put them both back on. I'm going to do what he did. We'll see if it works. I open up that little drain plug on the bottom, and I've got fuel going down this old coffee can. Okay, I should have it drained down low enough. I can take and spin that down off there. Okay, there we go. Might help if I grab the right wrench. Oh yeah. That drained that one right down. Oh boy. There we go. Like I say, this one here's got that plug in on the bottom of it. And I think that's like a water detector. Taking that pin out, we'll take and spin that other one down off there. Yeah, there we go. It just has a little electric plug deal on the bottom. So thankfully Knapp was able to take and cross that number and get me a new filter for it. Okay, there's the secondary. Try and get my bucket can halfway lined up underneath it. Help catch a little bit of that fuel wanting to come out. And there it goes. Oh, now that one's got the little O-ring that fell off with it. Generally, that little O-ring will stay on. There we go. Okay, there's that. That got that one taken off. Okay, here's that one. Okay, now we're ready for the primary. Got the primary filled up with petrol. Take and get him spun back on there, just like that. And like I say, this one here has a little plug on the bottom of it. Take and plug in. There we go. And where's that pigtail? There it is. Come on, get out of there. Okay. That's got both filters on. I'm going to take and turn the thing on, let it cycle back and forth with the fuel pump. I'm going to take and turn the key on. We should hear the pump kick in. There we go. Okay, it just shut back off. I'm going to let that cycle several times.